Hi all. As you might have noticed, I'm still not comfortable with presenting videos. Um, it's like the beginning of a soccer game when my nerves are in my stomach. Hopefully it'll get better. Today I begin chapter 3, but we'll break it up into two parts because of the length. The song chosen is Stand By Me by Ben E. King. And here we go. There have been so many occurrences that happen while living at the ski hill, which I need to bring forward. I spent 2 years and 4 months at this location from February of 2009 till June 2011. This time in my life and at this location was the awakening to the initial awareness of its extent. Those encounters that happened at this time are the most memorable because there was so much fear about the whole situation. Thinking back, they stand out then and they still do, although I do find that over time the detail becomes lost. I'm so glad for writing down many of these happenings so that when I do read back to them, I remember the detail I've captured. Today, I only seem to take note of those that are different. I suspect that over time, with it happening more frequently and also becoming more tolerant, that I try to be more focused on the situation as a whole or curious, and I have a lot less fear. Today, when I look back, they are a little brief snapshots, but still fascinating. Most of them happen while I'm sleeping, usually just after I fall asleep, but not always. Not sure why, but I've thought about it many times. Why is it mostly at night for me? I think the most favorable theory is that I have a connecting link that occurs at some time during my sleep, that there might be a part of my brain that is working or communicating. Other thoughts are that maybe it's not only me, but them. Maybe it's their time to roam or communicate. Maybe it is out of habit for them because they have known from many years ago that this is a highly sensitive time for me to interact, and they make use of it. I actually have no idea or supporting evidence why I'm being woken mainly at night. At one time, I would have said this was the only time it happened, but after a few years of reoccurring, this is no longer true. What I do acknowledge is that this may have been happening for years, but in my childhood years, I could not face it. When I reminisce back to my childhood, I do recall one such occurrence. It escaped me until prompted by seeing these spirits. I saw a man in a dark suit appear at the end of my bed. I pulled over the covers up over my head so that I did not have to look at it. I remember being terrified and did not say a thing to anyone. It might have had something to do with being told there was a boogeyman. I don't think I was any different then than the next child in wanting the closet light left on. I also wanted my bedroom door left open and still have that habit today. I would also go to sleep before anyone else so that I would not be going to bed in the dark or alone. I also remember facing the wall when trying to sleep. I think this was a way of avoiding seeing anything. When I look back before a year ago, and even when I was younger, and again at the house on Concession 8, but all before I learned how to teach myself to open my eyes and look, I realized that there was something in common which I'm still doing. That is saying no. For some reason in my past, and I say for some reason, for now I can relate to why I would catch myself saying no. Something would be around my head pestering me. When it is close to me, it is more terrifying. When it is when it is away from me, I just stare, waiting for the next move. The move, the move, The more it happened, the more I started to realize it was not harmful. At first, when a spirit appeared close to me, I would turn away and always say out loud, "No." I still continue to say this as if an automatic reflex. The weird thing I've noticed is that in the past I would always wake or turn and say no, but not understand why I was saying it. Even when I was younger, I can recall waking up from a sleep and saying no. For all these times, I have just passed it over as a bad dream. Knowing this, I now wonder if this has always been happening when I had no way of knowing what was going on. If I had learned then what I know now, would I have been dealing with the same occurrences? Well, that said, I'm glad I'm dealing with it now and not then. Honestly, today I know I can deal with it. Perhaps then I would not have been so tolerant or as strong to accept the situation. I was also told by my mom that I talked in my sleep a lot and also did my share of sleepwalking. The only other memorable event was at the Presbyterian Church Christmas Eve in Arnprior with my family. I recall seeing this woman glowing in light. She was a distance away and around others, but she certainly stood out and captured my attention. I never said a word, just stared, never questioned it or talked about it. Both these times have been forgotten or maybe purposely forgotten until the activity started. Not all have been visual. This one just blows me away because I know this was my sister. It happened very fast. I was woken in the morning to the sound of a young girl giggling. Then I felt a weight jumping on the bed, which I can only describe as if a cat jumped off the bed. I thought to myself, she must be jumping on the bed or trying to wake me up. But now I figure the cat was lying in the bed and she was tormenting it, which it is why the giggle, and the cat jumped away to escape. I did not see a thing. It was all hearing and the sensation of movement on the bed. I am able to relate all my senses except taste to those spirits that have come to visit. Sight, smell, touch, hearing, and one that is beyond, which is intuition. The strongest of my senses currently would be the visual or intuition. I guess seeing really is believing. Once this sense becomes heightened, I become much more aware or alert to the other senses. In some circumstances, I was able to explain my reason with myself or improve upon what was going on. The least sensitivity would be hearing. Then again, I know my hearing is diminishing. Body is getting older. But honestly, after all these years, it's not that. I know more now. I have also experienced a male voice say words to me. It was in the summer of 2009 during a game of ball hockey. I had tripped on someone's stick and was falling towards the boards at a very fast pace. It all happened so quickly, there was no time to think. In a split instant, I heard a voice say, "Heather, turn your head," which I did slightly. I took the fall on the side of my head and shoulder. I hate to think what might occur, what I hate to think what the outcome might have been without this voice informing me. I only make this comment because someone was reacting at that very time to change my position. I would not have come up with this thought myself. There was no reason or chance in a split second to react. This had to be the strangest thing that has happened to me. Yet I would not say it was the same thing as being woke up or hearing my dad's voice or hearing a doorbell ring while in a deep sleep. I've never heard a voice come from within talking to me, let alone directing me, and especially during the day. I wasn't hearing it from outside my body. It was actually coming from where my thoughts are, the same place where I hear myself thinking with it. I guess I might have someone looking out for me. I have also felt weight close to my body when in bed. When this happens, I usually just keep turning until I'm comfortable and it's not happening. The intuitive sense I have known since I was young, having the feeling that someone is around, but none of the other senses can identify, feeling a presence or sensing a presence. Most of these experiences are at night, but not always. Sometimes when I can look at the phone, sometimes when I can look and at the phone and it will ring and I know who it is, or someone will come to my mind from out of the blue. I know I'm being thought about or talked about when this happens. I actually use this sense at work. For example, I might be very busy, but at an instant, someone will come to mind, and I think to myself, "Oh, I still have to follow up on this for this person, or need to do something for this person," which I will drop what I'm doing and focus on what I'm doing when my senses tells me. It always paid off for me. The call is usually made when I expect it, and what needs to be done is usually completed or in progress. Or I might call this person and they might say, "That's funny. I was just thinking about this." Crazy, but it works for me. I also personally feel that this awareness goes in cycles. Certain times in my life, I am more alert or my awareness is more keen or sensitive. I really can't justify or extend reasoning for this comment, but for sure, physically in my body, I have noticed repeat changes. In the beginning of around 2010, when the activity was just starting to happen continuously, I was very nervous and scared. I did not want what was happening to me to be around. I was terrified. It was terrifying to have a feeling of someone watching me or invading my space, to not know what I was dealing with, to not know if this was peaceful or harmful, to not know when or how it would end, to not know what it was, to not know why I was a target or subject. A lot of questions went through my mind. Then there is the visual. There are so many different forms that have approached that I cannot categorize their appearances as one type of image. There was also a man that appeared on the right side at the end of the bed. He had a sword or a large knife that hung at his left side. This occurrence and what I have seen a couple days prior were a turn of events that I think I can relate to the experience. That was a person I had just met. I had met this male person who said his family first came from Scotland and settled just outside of Carleton Place. He told me that the family was supposed to be connected with the Sinclair and the Holy Grail. True or not, it was irrelevant. He said that there was a family cemetery he wanted to find. Not my idea of a first date, but there was an adventure that was appealing, so I agreed to help him search for the cemetery. It was on the second attempt that we found it, very close to the road. So we ended up exploring this small family cemetery not far from Carleton Place. That night, I encountered a spirit. It was a tall male that had an outline very much like my friend. He appeared at the right side, close to the end of the bed. He appeared very tall, like my friend, who is 5'6", 6'5", sorry. This spirit glowed in a reddish bright white light, but had dark places as if outlining a skeleton. The next time I woke sitting up in bed, sitting up and had no recollection of positioning myself to sit up. And this same figure was just fading as he was right beside me. That was all I have seen of him. but it was only a couple of days after this that I encountered the male with the sword. Possibly another encounter picked up from the graveyard or my friend's spirit. This next time described was a man that was a dark form which appeared just past the end of the bed on the left side as I'm looking down from my position. Okay, something not right here. The next time described was a man that was a dark form that appeared just past the end of the bed on the left side as I'm looking down from my position. He had the sword or large knife that hung at his left side. I only saw the top part of the sword, but it was noticeably when I viewed him. It was shining noticeably with the rest of him as a dark figure. My focus was actually on the sword, not him. This occurrence and what I have seen a couple of days before were my experiences that I feel were related to my friend and also walking through the cemetery. I never told him this story. I had asked him at one point his thoughts on this type of activity, not sharing my experiences, to which he responded he did not believe. I'm not about to convince anyone that it does exist. Now I wonder who my visitors are. I'm pretty sure they are attached to living people, and I have encountered, or as I have noticed, some visitors picked up from the graveyard. I might have to go visit a few of these places just to see if they bring more visits, but I'll wait until I'm a little bit more brave. I see you as another thing that I've started saying when I encounter someone. What have I been seeing over the past year is not something that can be categorized into one type. There are the human figures that can be viewed as a human. They are very real. There have been many images that are human-like, but appear as a dark cloud on which I cannot make out the features, only the outline. There has been a glowing one described with dark outlines where his center bones would be. There are also quite a few that appear as a picture portrait. They have an oblong shape with their face appearing inside it, as if I'm looking at a picture frame. The shape is more wide than long. The first thing I saw like this was a woman. She was older, probably in her 70s. She had white hair pulled back from her face and a full round face. She actually appeared a couple of times. Not on the same night, but different nights, but many different days apart. It might have only been a couple of days. This was my first female other than my sister that I recognized as female. Most encounters in the beginning have been mostly males. This appearance of the woman also was the first time I had seen something come forward in a different form. I have since, and as recently as a few weeks back, seen another familiar situation. It was a male with curly blonde hair. I would say he was in his teens. He also appeared as if in a picture frame. Both these encounters appeared in color. The more real the spirit appears, the more they mimic the real situation with light. My room does not have a light on. It is dark, but there always seems to be light cast from the windows from the moonlight. There are some nights when the moon is full that everything is so bright. Then again, it is black and white, not colorful, like seeing bright red or light blue. It does take times for my eyes to adjust to the night light. I also know my room and I can identify immediately something in the room. It is not a huge room. The house on Concession 8 was 3 or 4 times larger than the one I'm presently in. And that's where I'm going to end it in this part of the chapter. and that is because of the time constraint. Right now, it's showing close to 20 minutes. Okay, see you all next week, hopefully. Bye for now.